Welcome to a messy bench from Dr. Lock. Alright, so I thought we'd have a quick talk about this Lockwood 001/3, the metal frame. That's the original box. And this is the 001/1. What's the difference? Well, one is for metal frame, one is for timber frame. As a lot of locksmiths know, no surprise there. Alright, so this is the benchmark of rim-mounted dead latches for locksmiths in Australia. This is the one carpenters dream about. This is the one that locksmiths go through like Tic Tacs. This is the one that's suitable for unit front doors. So we'll be putting these on left, right and centre. So I just want to take you through and show you roughly a problem that we had with this one. And I also want to talk about some other problems that along the way of the years that we've had. So that way we can, all be under the understanding of kind of what's going on with them. So we'll just take out all this stuff here. I get the Borg instructions and we'll just like push all the rubbish back there. There we go. Alright. Now, this one was fitted to a door, brand new out of the box, and lasted a few hours. The customer calls me back. Now, on initial test, it was working fine, and then it stopped working. And that was very, very interesting, because what we actually did was we left the backing plate on the door with the cylinder attached, swapped it out for a completely new unit on the back, on the inside, to test where the problem was. So this one here was playing up, so we took it off the door, put a brand new one straight in its place on the same backing plate, same cylinder, same everything, tighten up the two screws, and to our surprise it started working normally again. This allowed us to identify that it wasn't the cylinder at the front, it wasn't the screws, it wasn't anything to do with the backing plate as well. So we eliminated those parts as being the problem. Where we found the problem was actually on the backing case. Sorry, in the back case. Is that going to come out? Come on. Here we go. So on closer inspection here, now I've spoken to many colleagues about this. On closer inspection, the first thing they said was, oh, it's the secondary. Secondary, what we call this little triangle here. What happens is when that gets pushed in, this one here goes solid. So on the door, and I'll show you the footage now. I'll show you the footage and then we can take it from there.
Okay, so 001/3 metal frame, everything's installed perfectly, and this is what it's doing. Okay, so let's have a look at it here. So that bolt is actually solid. Every now and again it just plays up. The secondary, look at the bounce on the secondary. It's not protruding as far as it should. This lock was fitted 1 day ago and the fitting is perfect with the backing plate, height of it, gap, everything's fine. So it's an internal problem with the secondary.
Okay, so you've seen the footage. What was happening is this little part here was getting sticky. Sticky. And the main latch was not able to retract back because this latch part here was bouncing and getting sticky. Now when I have a good look at this, a few colleagues have said it's that little tiny spring in there, not basically springing back, or it's jumped. So I had a good look. That spring in there looks good. I'm happy with that spring. So today, that's not the problem. Another colleague said that this plate right here is a fraction too high, and I can see it as being a fraction too high. And that sometimes can be the problem because this surface and this surface have to marry up. And when I look at this, in this particular scenario, that is a bit of an issue, if you can see it there. But I don't believe that was causing us an issue on the door. I mean, it could have been when pressure has been applied to that. It's a possibility. Look at that. When I apply pressure to the door, see that secondary latch? Push, release. So actually, you know what? Looking at it, I think that might have been part of the contributing factor. So that was one issue. Well, that's one way that these things have played up for me before. This plate here being 1 millimeter higher than this surface here, and of course you can just hit it with a grinder and it'll come good. But for a new lock, it's probably not a good thing to to do. You don't want to have to pull this out and start grinding down parts so that they fit on the door. You don't want to have to go to your shelf and start pulling apart every 001, unpacking them, getting the apprentice to grind them down so that when the tradespeople are out on the road, they're not going to get jammed up with this. So, and you don't want to really have to start asking your tradies, hey look, just grind down that plate before you start, because it's yet another part of the process that takes its time on a customer's doorstep, and to grind that down you're going to leave, you know, filings as well. So that was one issue there, and I kind of think that might have been what our problem is, but let's move on. Another issue that some other people have had, other locksmiths, is that this cylinder here, they say that if it's mounted not 100% straight, like if you push it up, the actual lock plays up. I don't know how that's possible, but I have kind of seen it from videos they've sent me, and I was quite surprised at that. So they're saying you put it right down in the bottom of the cylinder with that tail piece nice and square and nice and straight, and it seems to work nicer. So if this cylinder's too far up in that hole, they say they have problems. Now the size of the hole we use on these is a 32mm. That's standard for any rim lock, 32mm. And I've been told by that same person he uses a 30mm, never has a problem. Uses a 32mm hole saw, has a problem every now and again. So I don't know if that's technique, he's drilling on an angle, I really don't know, but that's kind of what's happening there. You might have had similar comments. Look, leave it down below if you've had similar problems like these, or you've had that exact problem, or if I'm not explaining it right, please leave it down below, because this is something even first year apprentices are out there doing, and if they're getting recalls or they're wondering why it's not working, it's always good to share the information, so that way we can say, hey, change your drill bit, make sure that's flat, grind this back, so that we can you know, guarantee that these locks go on in a perfect fashion. I mean, I must admit, in the last few years I have seen a drop in quality in these. They don't look it, but I seem to have had more problems in the last 5 to 8 years with these than I did previously. Alright, now, another problem you can have is when you tighten up your cylinder, right here. When you tighten up the cylinder, this plate, for some reason, I don't know if it's reduced in strength or not, but this plate can actually kink in when you tighten up these two screws. When it's sandwiching to the door, and the cylinder is getting pulled from the front and it's sandwiching that door, you can actually get a little bit of a bow formation within the circle area. And you can feel that when you're turning your cam. So when that's it, let's back to front. Put it in the right way, eh? So when that's in, that's your cam there. So when that's in and that's bowed this plate a little bit, what actually happens is you can feel it when you're turning your key. When you're turning this part here, you'll feel it. And it's a little bit tight, and with a little bit of wear, it kind of comes good. But on saying that too, you do need to tighten these screws super tight, because I've seen a number of these, they just kind of come loose. They don't come with Loctite on the actual screws, which is a bit of a shame, because I feel they probably should have some Loctite on it to combat that problem, and then that wouldn't be so much of an issue, because a lot of people like to tighten them up what I call shit tight, so they don't come loose and you don't get a call back and the customer's not got a lock with a floating cylinder on the front door. So yeah, tightening up tight or too tight causes you a problem as well. Other than that, I haven't had too many problems. I have had one or two that have this screw here which kind of falls out and, you know, basically just, yeah, falls out, not even threaded. But that's my little rant on the Lockwood 001. Leave your comments down below, and like always, thanks for watching.